Hello. What I'm working on in this video is for a children's television show. It's for a pitch. And so the creator and director need some visual elements. I'm here to help out and kind of bring their ideas to life as best as a way I can. I've been a freelance character designer and animator since 2020. It can vary a lot. It can be very different person to person, client to client. And by any means, this is not the correct way to do it. It's just my way. And even still, like, I don't do this every time. It just depends on the project and on the person. So I have a whole brief and, documents that kind of tell me about the world of the story, about the cast of characters. But for this vid, I'm gonna focus on one character in particular, just because I don't want to spoil the show, and that will just kind of streamline how I explain the process. The brief itself is, the Tree Father is an eccentric old man and self-proclaimed protector of the forest. He is full of secrets and schemes, trying to thwart any evils. He likes to pop in unannounced and can be quite intense in his visits. Really, it's a miracle he can climb all the way up the tree at his age. Just how old is he exactly? So that's the brief I've got to work with. A lot of stuff to tackle there. Thankfully, I've been talking with the director, and so I've got a well-rounded view of what this guy should look like. I know the context, I know the demographic, and all those things play a part in how the choices I make in the design and how I go about things. Yeah, that's about it. So it's a fun little project. It's nice to work on. It's good. First thing I did after reading through the brief and through all the information I got in the documents is preparing a mood board, which is infinitely helpful just to have while you're working on the project, and also to get you pumped up. Like, get on Pinterest, collecting all these different images, and make sure, everyone knows how to curate a mood board, but I just tried to go for a lot of different things. It's not just cartoon stuff, it's live action, it's real life imagery and photographs, and having a smorgasbord of different ideas and themes and pictures, and stuff that might not even immediately relate to the project, but it's nice to have a well-rounded image of what I'm trying to create. That's always handy. Offhand, I talked about with the director, two things that were very important for the character that weren't listed. He needs to have a unibrow and potentially a bird's nest in the beard. Those are things that I'll just think about while I'm creating, see if they work. It just helps me flesh out the idea of the character even more if I have those little tidbits in there. With that, I'm kind of set up for the project. I've got the imagery, I've got the documents, and they kind of work hand in hand with who this character is going to turn out to be. For this project in particular, there wasn't a specific style prepared. If it's for children, it needs to be somewhat friendly and inviting. We need these designs to be appealing, charming, something that could, be right at home with the likes of Bluey. Ever heard of Bluey? The demographic can tell you a lot about what the style will look like. Also, just make sure you're on the same page with the director or client about what style they're looking for. But for this project, I had a bit of time, so I was able to try out 3 different styles that I think could work for this character. Another thing the brief mentioned was it's an Adventure Time type show. It's very bubbly, there's not really any harsh, straight, angular lines. It's charming, so that was helpful as well, having a known reference in there. So I tried out 3 different styles for the creator and sent them over. I'll just pull them up. One was sort of a more wacky but still kind of lovable character where there's it's a little bit more stretchy and squishy. Second one was more Adventure Time, where the eyes are a bit smaller, the limbs are sort of they're like pipes. And then number 3 was a more charming approach, so I was thinking more in the vein of like Nick Jr., Disney Jr., all the shows on there, and the audience it's catered towards, where it's got big, appealing eyes, big ears, big nose, and there's no sharp angles. It's all very soft and lovable. In this stage, I wanted to be as diverse as possible about the styles I was working in. So these are all very different areas of design, of style. The client could look at this and kind of not specifically choose one style, because it's all very moldable and customizable. Having these very different styles together, first of all, like seeing them together as well, was very helpful for a client. Sent them over and they liked the look of number 3 the most, which, as I said, it's probably the most appealing for a chilled child-based audience. He looks very kind. It's a bubbly, soft character, and so that was great. And it only took me 3 sketches. Thankfully, there were really no edits. He just kind of liked that style immediately. And remember to number the designs. This is something I always used to forget, is when I'm sending, sketches over, I didn't number them, so it was very difficult. Now it's time to experiment, and this is more character-based, so we can finally kind of dig into our references and our brief and start thinking about the character as a character instead of a style. So I did 10 different designs here, which is super overboard. I don't recommend, maybe don't do that. I mean, if they have the budget for it, and if you're getting paid well for it, do 100 incarnations. If you're getting Pixar money, do that. But this was more just to embellish the idea of the process rather than the actual job. So it was fun to kind of really push myself, and I'm working from the same brief and images. It really does like stretch your imagination, makes you think of things in different ways, and it's just a fun creative challenge as well, just to have all these variations and playing with different proportions, playing with different costuming, props, sizing, and really experimenting with all those different elements in a lot of ways. So this stage essentially is just like a lot of drawing, which is great if you like drawing. I mean, if you're a freelance character designer, you're bound to like drawing, hopefully. It's fun. Again, a lot of imagination, using the brief and stretching it till its fullest. Looking at the ones I did, there are a few that don't really fit the brief as much, but they offer new ideas and new elements that you could add to and adjust. So they're all cyborgs that you can pull parts and elements from and mix and match them. And so I had this document of 10 different designs to send over, and now we move on to... After sharing these 10 designs to the client, they got back to me, and these were the 3 they picked: 1, 2, and 9. And so that means now that I've got these 3 pinpointed, I can get in there and be more specific now. And just to kind of touch them up, I made 3 variations from each of those designs, just playing around with elements like the beard, the props, the shoes, the feet, and adding things from the other designs that I like. Not necessarily using the whole, the whole character, but stealing bits and pieces and utilizing them and kind of recycling things. So I made 3 variations of each one and then sent those over. There's a lot of sending back and forth, a lot of that. And a couple things I had to remember while doing this process was there a couple elements that they really liked. So they liked having a big scruffy beard, and then the rounder, softer noses were more appealing as compared to maybe a sharper nose, which doesn't look as kind. It maybe makes the character look a little bit, just the shape language of it doesn't look as charming as maybe a rounded, big Santa nose. Now I had these 3 final designs. Finally, after a lot of work, it's really fun to like whittle down those 10 designs into these 3, very specific designs that the client likes, which is the most important thing. And now it's time to make them look all nice. I inked them, and then when it came to color, I grabbed some, like the start, getting the mood board and trying to be true to the project and what the client's vision is. I grabbed a few images of the New Zealand bush, and just because this guy's like a bush dweller, he lives there, he's like a man of the trees or whatever. The the tree father, after all. Grabbed those and blurred them, so it gave me this sort of color palette essentially. Grabbed a few colors, and that was my base for how I colored these characters. And it just added like a nice touch. And then I sent those off to the client. It's fun designing character and coming out with results that that you're proud of. You know, it's nice to be happy with your work. And now this whole thing could become a part of my portfolio. Again, this is not the way to do it. It's my way or the highway. No, it's goodbye.